वैसे ही दूसरा फ्रेमवर्क या डिटर्मिनेंट ऑफ इवैल्यूएशन है, राइट, डियोंटोलॉजी, राइट. In the same manner, okay, in the same manner, there is another determinant, that is deontological. That is deontological. Deon is duty. Fine. Now duty, let's say, takes away the ethical evaluation, right? Or it somewhere, puts the scrutiny of your action and your end both. Now duty says, or Deon perspective is very important. It is also means centric, right? But it's not just means centric, it is means and end centric both. Deontology says that you have to do what you must do. Are you getting? A security guard has a duty to secure, he must do. So the only basis of ethical evaluation is that what is your duty? That is your dharma, that is your karma. You need to do that. It doesn't matter, whatever be the consequence. So someone's role is what? To save someone, right? While doing so, whatever happens, it doesn't matter. Consequences cannot justify the action. That is deontology. Teleology says actions can be justified on the basis of consequences. So if consequences are good, but the action used is bad, it is justified, it is fair. Why? Because the consequence was good. Deon says no. You cannot justify bad actions on the basis of good consequences. Understand? Deontological or Deon. Dekhiye. It means, or it, you can say, it establishes the premise of duty or duty ethics. Duty ethics. That is, one must perform his or her duty, professional as well as moral. Perform duty, professional / moral. Personal be or professional be? Moral. In the most ethical manner. Without focusing only on the ends or the objectives. अभी basic karma की theory है Gita, right? The basic Gita theory which says do your duty, leave the rest. But the basic premise here is what? Deontology is same. It is saying do your duty, but duty entails what? Your action as well as the consequence. Now it says if your action or your duty, your action, your role, your obligation that you have to do has to be ethical. It has to be justified. On what ground? On the ground that it is your commitment to the work you are doing. So in simple way, you can say that a painter has a duty to paint ethically. Whether someone likes that painting or not, it doesn't matter. A civil servant has to perform his task. Perform his task of what? Implementing things, implementing laws, right? In the best ethical possible manner, right? Or in the best ethical framework as desired, right? Irrespective of whether the consequences are good for him or bad for him. It doesn't matter. Now,
So the major focus is means, did your duty was still the ends till you are not in your control.
No, that's not the logic. Try to understand. You understand it more logically or rationally. When something was designed in a particular way, when some means was designed, it would have been associated with an end or not. Agree? Teleology says you have to achieve the end, the good end that you have decided by whatever means you can. Right? We'll do the analysis. Kautilya's Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. Teleological. राइट, ठीक है। अब डियोंटोलॉजी कहता है कि नहीं, नेवर अ बैड मीन कैन बी जस्टिफाइड ऑन द ग्राउंड दैट इट हैज क्रिएटेड गुड एंड। Deontology says that means or your duty is what? The work, the action that you have to perform. It says whatever ethical actions have been defined, they have always been defined with respect to certain ends they will achieve. Fine. If your end can be achieved by some unethical means, which is better maybe, fine, still you cannot do that. Why? Because then you will start justifying unethical means on the basis of ethical ends. So deontology bolta hai that if you feel that your end, or you're not able to achieve the end you want, and still you are performing the duty that you are given ethically, still your work is to do that duty. You don't have to evaluate the efficiency or utility of your duty with respect to the goal which is to be achieved, right? So you can say, yes, deontology is more means centric, right? But understand the idea that if means are good to achieve some end, right, then even if the end is not maximized, even if the end is not extraordinary, it is justified. That I achieved 80% of the marks, but I did not cheat. You understand? You could have got 100% of the marks by cheating. Teleology will say 100% चाहिए, it doesn't matter. Deontology will say नहीं, 100% चाहिए, लेकिन कैसे चाहिए? Ethical चाहिए. If ethical से 80 आ सकता तो 80 ठीक. You understand? That means non-achievement of the purpose is accepted if the means are ethical. But achievement of the purpose is not accepted if the means are unethical. And most likely, that is what duty ethics is. Most likely, when you are using the ethical means, you are going to end up in the ethical ends. You are going to achieve those ethical ends. So if a bureaucrat says by legal procedure, we cannot contain criminals, so we have to go for encounters. Encounters क्या है? Teleological. Achieve peace, control on crime through encounters. And तो अच्छी justified है. अब deontology बोलेगा नहीं. Why? Because it is not an ethical duty. It is not part of the ethical action. So if you follow the rules and procedures, and it might be little delayed in controlling the crime, still it is the best thing to do. You understand? Are you getting? So many times human actions are justified, or the excuse is made merely on the premise that what I was doing, what I was trying to achieve was something good for the people. But achieving good for the people using bad means, what it does, it creates the precedent for some other bad means in future. It justifies the use of bad means. So deontology criticizes it. That why so much of obsession with the ends? Why not evaluation of means? Because means also needs to be ethical. So deontology or deontological ethics was primarily contributed by a person called Immanuel Kant. That is also called Kantian philosophy. Gandhi, yes, Gandhi. Gandhi is one step ahead. Virtue ethics. Good means, good ends, good thought.
So how come when such a long time of civilization, universal principles are more or less remain same? Or just
नहीं, यूनिवर्सल प्रिंसिपल्स तो सेम ही होंगे ना. ह्यूमन बीइंग का एवोल्यूशन कैसा, हम एलियन थोड़ा ना बन गए. वी हैव नॉट बिकम एलियन, नो भाई. हमारा बायोलॉजिकल, नेचुरल, फिजिकल एग्जिस्टेंस तो मोर और लेस सिमिलर रहा है, और हमारा इंटेलेक्चुअल लेवल बहुत चेंज नहीं हुआ. अभी कहाँ चेंज हो गया? यू हैव बिकम मोर maybe commonsensical. You have become a quick decision maker. You have become more intelligent race, but you have not become ethical race, no? Yesterday I was reading some data, right? Or I think some video somewhere. So one person is there, he's a very good poet. He was saying that Neha Kakkar has 75 million followers on Instagram. And Asha Bhosle has only 4 lakh followers on Instagram. Now if we compare that, right? So Neha Kakkar is like one of the colleges of Delhi University. And Asha Bhosle is the entire education system. Fine. So will 75 million follower, right, make her the expert in the area? Will it make her a better singer than Asha Bhosle? She is contemporary, right? The basis of evaluation is different. She is 76 years old or 80 years old lady. One is 30-year-old girl. Evaluation is over. Understanding? Now, what we say that the number or the public opinion or the popular opinion is not a guarantee of the quality or excellence. But when you are following a singer, what are you following them for? Singing, right? But what is the determinant? What is the basis of evaluation? Not the singing, age, fashion, face, right? Physical features, right? Fashion, whatever. See, now see, accepted, that also accepted, right? But prima facie, following a singer means what? One of the primary criteria has to be the singing. Everything else can be used for that. So what is selling? The glamour, not the talent. तो तुम्हारी society ethical हुई? नहीं. Your society that has evolved, it has become highly utilitarian. It has become highly materialistic, highly consumptive. It wants to consume. You keep making videos, whatever you make, right? Consume, 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 consume. Unending consumption. तो तुम ethical parameters क्या? जो पहले ethical parameters बने हैं, right? अभी वो इस समय माउंट एवरेस्ट की तरह है. और जो तुम्हारे ethical parameters से समाज के अभी right now है, right? वो मजनू का टीला भी नहीं है ना? So abhi to you have to evolve to that level itself. Why do you want to change it? If we are looking at ethical evaluation.
We're not changing it, but I think we are just
no, see, that is why we have, see, no, it's not like that. You're not understanding the point. That is why we have ethical absolutism and ethical relativism. Relativism gives you dynamic. Now you say judiciary के parameters change क्यों नहीं है? Justice अभी भी justice क्यों है? कुछ चीजें, right? Human society, human civilization को हमेशा एक particular pedestal पे रखने के लिए बनाई गई है. Some things have to be justified on the same pedestal for a long period of time. Only then, whatever the human aspect that you want to nurture or you want to protect, that will be protected. The other aspects are the dynamic aspects. They will keep changing. Yes, they will. Why not? Taste has changed, music has changed, fashion has changed, many other things have changed. Yes, they have changed. So they may not even be part of the ethical evaluation. हो सकता ना? You cannot say कि जो पहले था वो अब relevant नहीं है.
They're not saying relevant, but more or less they are same. And
Give me an example, no?
so जैसे चाणक्य ने वास्तविक इनका जो होता है कि वेलफेयर, लेकिन सोसाइटी में चल रहा है कि गवर्नमेंट
क्योंकि वेलफेयर एक जनरलाइज्ड प्रिंसिपल है. It is not a concrete idea. It's a generic principle. In any society, welfare तो change हो रहा है. Monarchy में जो welfare था वो अब democracy में welfare था ना. But welfare is an idea cannot change. When you say sleep, biological function है ना, right? It is associated with what? If you don't sleep for a few days, you may not die. But after 72 hours, you might start feeling some problem. Fine? Soldiers, many times they don't sleep for 72 hours. They are okay. Why do you sleep? Body, see? उसका एक utility है ना. So when you say कि क्यों welfare, उसकी एक utility है, उसकी एक justification है. तो welfare को अगर आप किसी और format में भी change कर दो, तो ultimately जो nature of the objective है, वो तो change नहीं होगा ना. Today you say welfare नहीं empowerment चाहिए, तो empowerment कैसे आएगा? Welfare के पहले end होता था, welfare अब means हो जाएगा. Are you getting? So you can simply cannot say कि भाई the magnitude, the underpinning, the basic texture, right, the content of that particular term, of that particular objective, it has changed. But because that objective has a universal or you can say general appeal, right, it does not fit into any age or into any time. It is universal. जैसे हमने बोला good life, वो 1000 साल पहले भी good life, 2000 साल पहले भी good life चाहिए थी, आज भी good life चाहिए. So parameters will change, nature will change, substantive nature will change, but that good as an objective will not change. Why should it change? है ना, जो जेनरिक ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं वो कभी चेंज नहीं होंगे, क्योंकि तुम कितने भी इनोवेटिव हो जाओ इंटेलेक्चुअली, राइट, फिजिकल वर्ल्ड तुम्हारा जो है वो तो वही रहेगा ना. यू कैन इवॉल्व विद माइंड बट नॉट विद दिस. यू कैन नॉट मेक अर्थ हेवन, नो, इट विल बी अर्थ ओनली. फाइन. So duty or duty ethics, one of the biggest contributor to this is Kant, Immanuel Kant. So Dion or duty, right, identifies that what is important is to perform one's duty. Duty is what? The commitment to one's action or commitment to one's ethical actions, which will lead to ethical consequences. That is the idea. So your actions cannot be justified only merely on the ground of outcomes or objectives, right? So to achieve good objectives, you cannot use bad means. Are you getting? So means का sense यहाँ पे क्या है? Action. Now, if you say that because society will always find a way to justify its actions on the ground of that something it was serving a public interest, like I said, encounters, or a public servant bypassing the law, a public servant using social media and saying that I was doing it for the general public welfare, right? But using that means is not justified only on the ground of welfare. Why? Because you have already been given legal and ethical means to do it. So you did not do it, and that is why you chose some other means. So until and unless you perform the required obligation, professional obligation, moral obligation, doctor के पास दोनों है, public servant has both, lawyers have both, judges have both, right? There are so many professions which are directly linked to the human destruction or human, humanity, survival of humanity, right? That they may create such impact which may be hugely desirable or hugely undesirable. So ये जो professions हैं, ये जो लोग हैं, वो क्या करते हैं? Moral and professional commitment both are performed by them. So you perform your commitment, the consequences more or less will be good. Sometimes your duty may result in bad consequences, right? But that does not mean you will modify, you will change. You will divert your duty, ethical duty, for something unethical. It also simply wants to convey the idea that a man or person should not be motivated by only the reward. He should also give value to the process. So it is possible for 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, 40 people, right? Whose videos you might see on the YouTube again and again, and you might feel that these are 400 people actually, who may have qualified the exam by using, some secondary sources, by using some YouTube channels, by using some other means, right? Or by, short circuiting the process of preparation. It is possible. You will always find 40, 50, 60, 100 people like that, right? But that does not justify or unjustify the hard work that 700 people have put. See, the drawback. That is why these benchmarks are important, right? 100 people can undo the effort of 700 people. Are you getting? Because why? They will project the means to be very simple. They will project the means to be manipulative. They will project the means that they are nothing. वो end को इतना promote करेंगे कि means irrelevant हो जाता है. Fine. Now see, the unnecessary obsession today. Anybody who is qualifying the exam is putting the video because वो पता है कि consumer इतने हैं. Nothing wrong in that. But अब Delhi पुलिस का कांस्टेबल भी वीडियो बना रहा है कि कांस्टेबल की तैयारी कैसे करनी है. और अच्छी बात है. I'm not saying there are people who they want to do that also, right? But the logic is that is the content, whatever you're doing, is this actually a responsible behavior? Because you have to perform public duty. So meanwhile, as a hobby, if you're guiding people, yes, guide them, substantially guide them. Everybody is giving tips for every exam. Nobody is asking the tips from them, but they're giving the tips. So अच्छा है बुरा है, that's not the evaluation. What is the evaluation? The evaluation that you are part of a public service, you go and perform your duty. What example are you setting for other people? Right? मैं टीचिंग छोड़ के रोज डांस के वीडियो बनाने लगूं तो धीरे धीरे मैं वायरल हो जाऊंगा. फाइन. और मैं डांस के थ्रू बोलूं लोगों को कि मैं अच्छा पढ़ाता हूं. आओ. You have seen my dance, now you come and see my teaching, right? My teaching is equally good as my dance. But you cannot learn from me unless you see my dance now. So you have to, right? You may have to have some, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million followers through dancing, and then now you start selling the product. कि नहीं dancing तो चलो मेरा main profession है, लेकिन मैं UPSC के लिए भी पढ़ाता हूँ, वो मेरी hobby है. क्योंकि 90% टाइम तो मैं डांसिंग में देता हूँ. इसलिए मेरा जो प्रोडक्ट है वो 10% के हिसाब से ही है, राइट? इसलिए मेरी प्राइसिंग भी वैसी है. 91 रुपीज में पबैट का क्रैश कोर्स पबैट. फाइन. So if you want Simon with Weber, then pay 50 rupees more. But if you want Forte is profit of management, profit of administration, profit के लिए थोड़ा ज्यादा देना पड़ेगा, 200 रुपए for Forte. See, eventually it happens same thing. So foundation course is 10,000. With that there is test series 3,000. Then there is current affairs batch which is 5,000. Then there are mains answer writing 2,000. फिर ये 1,000, वो 1,000 करके वो 40-50 हजार के फेस पे ले आता है. But see, primary objective क्या है? Getting the eyeballs, getting the customer acquisition. That is what Unacademy is. It's an organization just for customer acquisition, nothing else. Right? Physics wala and all those, they're all data-driven companies, nothing else. They have 1 crore data. Out of that, they believe that 10% भी आ गया तो मेरा system तो 10,000 crore का बन गया, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? So what they do? Initially, they acquire data. Right? Can you imagine that one teacher from Patna or Bihar, right? He's teaching some very substandard, that is a substandard factual content, right? For maybe Daroga or Sub-Daroga level exam or constable exam or whatever, right? And he claimed that he was a garib teacher, there is a lot of issue, and he's having 4 lakh rupees board when he's a garib teacher. Who donated that 4 lakh in COVID to him? One IPS officer tagged him and he became popular. Right? And that IPS officer also, why he tagged him, there was a reason for that. You understand? तो हमारे टीचर ने ऐसा पढ़ाया था, उसने कुछ लिखा, तो हम क्या कर लेते? अरे क्या कर लेता? आईपीएस से ऊपर क्या बनता? आईएएस बन जाता, राइट? और पीएम बनने के लिए तो कुछ पढ़ना नहीं पड़ता है. तो टीचर क्या पढ़ाता है ऐसा? You see, that's all cosmetic statements, that all manipulated statements. जैसे शाहरुख खान आता था, बाईजू से पढ़ के बच्चा जो है पता नहीं क्या हो जाएगा, राइट? तो बच्चा एज इट इज रह गया बेचारा, जो है बाईजू खुद गायब हो गया, बताओ 5, 7, 10 years में ही खत्म हो गया. Why? Because they are not working on their core skill. You associate anyone with yourself just because you are a unicorn or you are a big company, or unicorn means what? You have been funded, that's it. That's the only difference. Right? Other systems are running on their own revenue, they are creating their own revenue and they are running it. You are just getting funded. And how did you get funded? By showing that customer acquisition. You see, if you start giving a lot of things for free, you'll see within 1 year, 6 months, maybe 1.5 years, right? On your platform, there will be lakhs and lakhs of followers, lakhs of subscribers. You start doing that. Once you have that, right, you start selling something for 10 rupees. So as people already know you, right? Social media creates a sense of personal interaction, which is technically not true, but it is. Once you have that, you start selling them. The trust has already been created. See, Vivek Bindra's, or that Maheshwari, imagine what motivation that person is giving. Where he has studied, what he has studied, nobody knows that. He talks about civil services, imagine. पहले उसको speech therapy करनी चाहिए ना, clarity लानी चाहिए अपनी speech में उसको पहले, सबसे पहले. And he should know some substantial level the things that he talks about. There is no substantial, or we don't, we anticipate any substantial content coming from him. उसको देख के नहीं लगता कि ये कुछ पढ़ी लिखी बात कर सकता है. There are a lot of followers for him. They are not attractive. See, they are comforting. If every day I sit here, right? So whatever we are putting 10, 12, in 12 months, we are putting an effort worth 14 months. And it's not just about earning money, right? But still, but if I just spend half of what I'm spending and I just open a place, right? And I sit for 6 months and I start making content, I'll earn more than that. Because that will be my only purpose. Then I will commercialize that content, you understand? So there is a commercial packaging and there is an academic packaging, right? Academic packaging is not comfortable because it has to make you think, right? It requires an effort from your side, whereas comfort content is comfortable to you. उसको सुन के यहाँ से यहीं तक सुन के बस वो चला जाता है. तो एकेडमिक या क्यूरियोसिटी या इंटेलेक्चुअल ऐसी कोई चीज क्या है, वो यहाँ से सुन के फिर यहाँ जाएगी, फिर प्रोसेस होगी, राइट? फिर वो यहाँ जाएगी, बड़ा मुश्किल है उसको. So out of 100 people who are viewing it, right, 5 will remain, 95 will go, यार ये करके क्या करना है लाइफ में, राइट? पर ये जानना बहुत जरूरी है कि अलेक्जेंडर ने मरते वक्त क्या कहा था. नहीं, हमें जीवन में दोस्त क्यों चाहिए, हमें नहीं पता है, राइट? हमें पता नहीं है क्या बचपन से कर क्या रहे हम, अगर हमें ये भी नहीं पता तो, राइट? वी आर सच अ डम रेस, राइट? People feel that we are so dumb. Fine. So see, that is the society in which you are living. So when you think of these are more academic discussions. Public service values, when a civil servant asks for bribe openly, when civil servants are not refraining, IAS, IPS are not refraining from taking 20,000, 10,000 rupees in training, when they start using the contracted service while they are going through training. So all this, what you're talking about, is useless. The 25, 26, 27-year-old, the moment enters into service, starts taking money from the coaching institutes. So some stupid person on the YouTube will say कि coachings पैसे दे के result manipulate करती हैं. लेता कौन है? कौन लेता है पैसे? कोचिंग खुद तो नहीं देता है ना पैसे अपने आप को. किसको देता है? जो लेता है पैसे. कौन लेता है पैसे? वो जो फोटो अपनी लगवाता है वहां पे. Don't they know? You see? So one of these जो टॉप रैंक थी पवेट की वो हमारी स्टूडेंट है, राइट? लेकिन मैंने उससे कभी नहीं बोला. वो तो when she herself sent the message in one of the groups कि भाई why sir has put Dipesh Gaur's video but not mine. I said where is your video? How do we know? We did not even find out कि ये selected है कि नहीं है. So somebody shared that photo और Sonali she got this rank, right? And then I saw in my messages कि अच्छा ये कोई student तो है अपना लग रहा है शायद कोई नाम तो है. Then I asked them to kindly find out is there we have a student of this name. Then they found out. Then they messaged her कि are you? Yes. Ma'am, I'm the same person. 20 days के बाद, once the result has come, how does it matter to me? My teaching is not a consequence of your result. Your result is a consequence of my teaching. That's very logical. And in the past, I'm telling you very honestly, there have been students, right, who have nurtured by us every damn thing we told them. लेकिन उन जाके कहीं और interview दे दिया. But I don't care. I never even bothered to call them again. They were the first one who called me, sir, we got this rank. Double digit, single digit rank आ गई सर. हमने आपने जो बताया, ये बताया, वो बताया, जो भी अच्छा. उसके बाद वो इंटरव्यू जाके कहीं और दे रही है. But मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ा. They may be expecting कि भाई they will call. Who are you? You become the collector or prime minister. It doesn't matter to me. For me, you are my student. That's it. I have eternally that association only. Neither I expect anything more from you. The day I expect, right? I will say कि भाई गुरु दक्षिणा दे दो. जितना तुमने पैसा दिया था उससे ज्यादा मैंने पढ़ा दिया था. तो जो बचा हुआ है वो दे दो गुरु दक्षिणा. See? So I don't have to claim by photograph someone कि नहीं मैं तो ठीक पढ़ाता हूँ. Let the student know it. The one who has to study will find out. See? So whether it is education, no, I'm just coming to the. You cannot say कि जो बच्चे पैसा लेके रिजल्ट देते हैं, right? जो स्टूडेंट्स किसी टीचर का 1 साल 2 साल 3 साल दिमाग खाते हैं और ये सोचते हैं कि मैंने एक बार पैसा दिया तो मैं जस्टिफाइड है इसका दिमाग खाना, right? This is my profession, this is my skill. डॉक्टर होता है ना अपना सर्जरी के लिए पेन उठाता है, the cost he takes for it. Why he takes it for it? To make it worth, not because he's greedy. You understand? Every person with a professional skill has to make his skill worth. It's not the money. And if the world understands the medium of money, then we have to do it. What to do? दुनिया को यही लैंग्वेज समझ में आती है. I will never come on the video and say, okay, there are a lot of students, right, whose half of the fee I have paid from my own pocket. Then you'll say, why? Because our technology, the application doesn't let it happen. If I want to teach someone for free, I cannot do that. They cannot be accessible through the app. So I paid it for many. But I'll not disclose their name. Why to disclose their names? They are the students coming from very humble background. I had a student, a girl, right? Her father was ironing clothes on the street. So when I said, paisa nahi liya. In fact, I said, I sent everything free to her. She was willing. I said, okay, pay the administrative cost, 2,100 rupees, something. The app charges that money. So I said, 2 years validity के लिए इतना सिर्फ अगर दे सकती हो वो भी दो, नहीं तो मत दो. एक स्टूडेंट जम्मू एंड कश्मीर से, राइट? एक स्टूडेंट वेस्ट बंगाल कोलकाता से, भुवनेश्वर से है. ऐसा नहीं है. So if I'm teaching 100, out of that at least 10 students are such, 10%, 15% of that are such who don't pay fee or who pay only minimum cost, and they get the same service as others are paying. Only justification is that these people have extraordinary commitment to study. Right? And I've told them, see, the day you become capable, you pay it. Right? Else, maybe throughout the life, in my mind also, it will be there कि भाई इसको मैंने पढ़ाया था, बताओ ये कुछ करने नहीं आया दोबारा. तो मैंने कहा ये जो मेरा ईगो हो उसे भी खत्म कर दो, राइट? और तुम्हारे अंदर जो डिमोरलाइजेशन आया होगा उसे भी खत्म कर दो. So I had a student doctor who is now in Pune. He's working one of the biggest hospitals. No, what is that? Mumbai का जो hospital is there. No. नहीं, कुछ और एक और नाम है. It's a government hospital. It's very big. Medical college भी है, hospital भी. I don't remember right now. So he was like that. So I did not charge. When I was teaching first batch in 2013, I did not taking money from you. उस समय पास खुद पैसा नहीं था. But मैंने फिर भी उससे नहीं लिया. मैंने कहा no, it's okay. उसने बोला सर मेरा 5th या कुछ अटेम्प्ट है, मैं पढ़ के थक गया, यहाँ हो गया. Fine. Finally he wrote mains. He gave interview. He did not qualify, but he qualified mains. 6 years later, he sent me money. I said, no, you don't need to. He said, no, sir. It's not the fee. You don't take it as anything. It is something what I have earned from my own effort. 6 years later, 2019-20 में उसने भेजा उसको. तो ऐसे स्टूडेंट भी ऐसे. Gratitude. Without gratitude, you cannot evolve in your life. Right? You can acquire material accomplishments. That's okay. Fine. So let's go back. So commercialization, हर चीज का. Everything is commercialized, right? So when you think that those people, right, who are entering the civil services and they are supposed to perform their duty ethically, but before even entering, they have developed an entrenched mindset of earning money. Do you expect them to change their values overnight? Now see, that is the drawback, that various sectors which are commercialized, various sectors, politics, सबसे बड़ा sector जो commercialized है, इतनी बड़ी holding free में आती है क्या? If we put up a small board, right? Let us say small or big, whatever. The board costs around 50,000-60,000 rupees, right? Once to install, then 10,000 to remove it, 10,000 to put it up again. So 1 lakh एक normal board को लगाने में आता है. Imagine life size, bigger than life size statues and hoardings. कहाँ से आ रहा है? But politics is not a profit-earning, money-earning profession. No? Politics was considered to be vocation. What is a vocation? जो commitment से किया जाए, जो mission की तरह किया जाए, जो service की तरह किया जाए. That's a vocation. So politics, bureaucracy, right? At least bureaucrats are still doing a job, right? But politicians are doing the service. The biggest service is politician, not the bureaucrat. So politics is like a vocation you choose over and above your livelihood, you understand? Whereas for bureaucrat, bureaucracy is the livelihood. So he is justified in the extent that he is earning his livelihood, and so he may be willing to have some material needs, that's fine. But he cannot do so using wrong and unfair means. But for politics, imagine everything is social service, because that is done somewhere apart from the livelihood that you have. इसीलिए politics में different walks of people can enter, so that the tendency of corruption, tendency of amassing money reduces. तो अगर कोई lawyer है और वो politician है, तो law से वो अपना livelihood करेगा, politics वो welfare के लिए करेगा. So in every field, every profession, every area, wherever you are, there are some clear-cut duties which are defined. Politician has a duty, right? Both karma as means and karma as end. Try to understand that. Politician has some dharmas to be followed, some moral conditions to be followed, some obligations to be followed, right? When they start doing it with these obligations, that is called deontology. Yeah, duty ethics. Rewards are not always the driving factor. No, yes. Unethical है तो फिर तो मतलब ही नहीं ड्यूटी का, right? वो तो illegal हो गया, immoral हो गया. Then it is not duty. Try to understand. Are you getting? If you are acting unethically, then you are focusing on reward, not on the duty. So here the deontology says reward is a byproduct. Reward may be a consequence. Reward may be desirable, but what is that reward when it is achieved through unfair means? Now see, that is the idea. So Kant ने बहुत interesting idea developed here. Kant said that कि भाई, try to understand, there is moral is moral, ethical is ethical, right? Immoral can never be justified on the ground of serving the public interest, right? So वो कहता है कि भाई जो moral या ethical है, whatever is there, these are certain things which are intrinsic. That means moral will be moral, whatever be the context. Understand? Lies are lies. It doesn't matter in what context it is being said. Understand? So somewhere Kant comes with the idea of idealism or moral or ethical absolutism.
So army is unethical as well.
Yes, definitely. Why not? Army as such मत बोलो. Army defense के लिए भी तो हो सकती है, self defense, right? As such means what? Now let us say, take an example. अब example लेते हैं. Snake, scorpion, right? And let's say rabbit. Which of these is ominous? Which of these are dangerous? Did it do something to you? Why did you say that? See?
different nature of sin.
You see a beggar on the road, he seems to be beggar, he seems to be an addict, right? And you start walking, away from him. Why? But a corrupt man, right? Highly corrupt, exploitative, highly unethical, right? He might have used several perfumes, but he's smelling of that, what you can say, the unethical, soul, right? He's smelling of all that, whatever he has done. He comes out of a big car, right? You are shaking hands with him and you're quite happy meeting such person, but you're running away from a Bhikhari, obviously who has done nothing. क्या priorities हैं ethical life में? Once an SDM, right? From, I think, Jabalpur or MP called. And he called the office, ki, Ashutosh sir, मुझे ये चाहिए, sir का content ये, whatever. So office told him that, okay, fine, we'll send you, give us the address, whatever. And this is the price. Now he said, okay, fine, I'll call after some time. He called 3 times. He was expecting that he said he's an SDM. So the office would say, it's okay, mati. Kyun le lo bhai? Who are you? In fact, my office, that there was one person, Brajesh then. He told him, sir, last batch में 70 निकले, right? और ज़्यादातर IAS, IPS, IRS बने sir. सब आपसे बड़े. You are just PCS, no? So he told you, sir, PCS officer? He said, yes, yes. He said, your boss must be one of the student officer. You kindly talk to him. He said, how come you are expecting this, right? This is my profession. This is my duty, right? That is your duty. You may be SDM for yourself. For me, you are a student, as simple as that. Or the one who is seeking my academic support. तो ये कमर्शियल भी नहीं है रिलेशन, राइट? लेकिन प्रोफेशनल तो है. उस प्रोफेशन की भी कुछ एथिकल पैरामीटर्स होंगे. सी, प्लस अ पर्सन हु इज अर्निंग मनी, he wants it for free. Imagine. That's the biggest issue, right? Biggest issue. And like a lot of people come like this. Fine. One person was there. He came once like this. मैं हरियाणा में ये हूँ, whatever. I said. He said, नहीं मतलब आप you can adjust. मैंने कहा what to adjust? You're saying I am this, and then you're demeaning yourself. You don't have 50,000 to spend on education. You're coming with a 40 lakh rupees car, and you don't have 50,000 to spend on education. You don't have any respect for the effort, the commitment, the intellectual contribution the teachers will make to the lives of your children. वहाँ पे इतनी respect नहीं उसकी, तो तुम मेरे लिए किस काम के हो, किसी काम के नहीं. See, that is the mindset. टीचर रिक्शे वाला थोड़ा ना कि दाम बढ़ा के बोल रहा है पहले. There is no price which is fixed. इंटेलेक्ट या नॉलेज पे कोई प्राइस कैसे कैप हो सकता है? वो तो सिर्फ एक कमर्शियल सिंबल है. आप फ्री में पढ़ाओ, बिल्कुल. गवर्नमेंट मेरा घर चला दे, मैं फ्री में पढ़ाऊंगा. आई एम विलिंग टू डू दैट. गवर्नमेंट कॉम्पिटिशन करा दे कि these are the university professors we have, these are the commercial teachers this country has, right? Let's have a competition. Let's have a competition. Let's have an all-India test. And then look, and then identify who are the best educators, who are the best teachers. Right? Create a salary structure for them. Let them teach anywhere they want. Associate all these mentors with universities, several institutions. इतने बच्चे हैं. Fine, हम जाके पढ़ाएंगे. जहाँ पढ़ाने के लिए बोलेगा हम जाके पढ़ाएंगे. You secure my livelihood. But what do you expect after giving 3 interviews of the UPSC, right? Should I beg for my livelihood? I cannot do that. क्यों? System does not have the capacity to absorb the intelligent people. All the students who are giving mains consistently or who are giving interviews, right? They are equally capable as others who qualify. It's a matter of few marks here and there, right? And you know how marks are given. So that is not a scientific evaluation. So why not UPSC? Why not government has tied up with UPSC and said, कि अरे मुझे teachers के लिए, right, researchers के लिए, analysts के लिए, नीति आयोग में experts के लिए मुझे इतने लोगों को बुलाना पड़ता है, but हमारे पास already इतना बड़ा database है. Years and years of UPSC aspirants who have given interviews and mains. We have such a big database of the best minds of this country. Use it. What are you doing? Creating again? Why? क्योंकि तुम्हें पता है कि unemployment इतना है, तुम दे नहीं सकते नौकरी. This is a mirage you have created. Are you getting? See? So no system in the world can boast of ethical absolutism, right? Kant, on the other hand, believes that there are some inherent traits. Snake has venom, nothing bad about it, right? But he uses the venom to kill someone, right? That may create a problem. He doesn't know that he's doing it, right? He lacks consciousness of that, understand? It is only his defense mechanism. Are you getting? So nothing wrong with snake. Nothing wrong with scorpion. And similarly, nothing extraordinary about rabbit. He runs away, sensing the life in danger. They attack, sensing the life in danger. Both of them are using the same parameter. Survival unka right hai, and they are doing that. Understanding? But see, now if you want to classify, we say, okay, fine. But venom, poison, sin is wrong. Right? अब उसको use करे ना करे वो अलग बात है, right? But it has an inherent nature which is destructive, right? Correct? Nuclear weapon in itself is not wrong, but what is the inherent nature of nuclear weapon? Destroy humanity. You're right. कैसे use होगा? फिर action आ गया. Understanding? Use होगा, consequence क्या आ गया? End आ गया. You understand? But here I'm simply doing the simple evaluation. What is the inherent nature of a nuclear bomb? Which is not the inherent nature of a guava or an apple or a banana. It's not the inherent nature of these things. See? Things also have inherent nature. You understand? And that is why Kant comes with the idea that can we develop a list? Can we develop a universal list, right, of things, of actions, of traits, of characteristics which are absolutely moral, which are not moral? You understand? So Kant started evaluating this. These are called categorical imperatives or moral imperatives. That means you must think of these imperatives as more or less universal or absolute in nature. They are not contextual in nature. Every human being, every human system, right, may try to achieve things in this moral standards only, right? Obviously, any human system would try to avoid certain things which are against the human nature, which are against the humanity, which are against the human principles. That is the idea of Kant. So he says if honesty is there, honesty is honesty, right? It is not contextual in nature. Honesty is honesty. Integrity is integrity. Impartiality is impartiality. You cannot justify it in a context. Either you are impartial or you are partial, right? You cannot have something in between. So you cannot say, right, that is the idea that I am honest till 10 lakh rupees. Right? After that, I become dishonest. That is not what Kant is saying. So he's saying categorical imperative or moral imperative. There are some absolute standards and they are universally applicable. That is the idea. So जब duty का evaluation होगा, on what basis it will be done? It will be done on the basis of this moral absolutes, you understand? Or ethical universals. That is the idea of duty. So duty or your obligation, your commitment to your cause, your task, your duty, your performance, your profession is what? It comes with some moral imperatives, right? A civil servant cannot take bribe whatever happens. A civil servant cannot misuse his authority whatever happens, right? He cannot justify the misuse of authority on the ground that my child was sick, my mother was not well, my sister was to be married, right? बूढ़ी माँ, अंधी बहन, ये वो, right? बीमार पिता, ये वो justify नहीं कर सकता. There's no excuse for him. Why? Because that was a moral imperative when he joined the profession. Same way, the army person cannot say, I'll run away from the war because I fear my life. No, that was the moral imperative when you joined the army, that you have to die in the line of service. Same, see, that's a drawback. Professions have a lot of influence on our lives. Professions are a system, and that is why we are able to perform it. You see, as a student, you are not in a profession. You do not have a system. You do not have a peer control mechanism, right? You can avoid your duty every day. And you can blame it on someone. सर ने ये नहीं पढ़ाया, उसने चेक नहीं किया, उसने मेरा एक आंसर चेक नहीं किया, है ना? मेरे एक स्टूडेंट उसने कहा सर आपने ये आंसर चेक नहीं किया. मैंने कहा जो 100 मैंने चेक किया उसका क्या? उसकी कोई वैल्यू है? 101 नहीं चेक किया, 101 फर्स्ट, लेकिन 100 जो चेक किया उसकी वैल्यू क्या है? See the level of gratitude. I said if I had not checked 100 also, you would have said the same thing. So it's better not to check the 100. Khatam. Right? Your saying has technically will have virtually no effect on my commercial benefit. But see, I cannot be that ungrateful. I'm grateful to student also. If you have chosen me or if you have trusted us, right, that I feel grateful for that. Because what is my perception of evaluation, right? I believe my student has to stand somewhere on that pedestal. That's the idea. If we had to simply commercially evaluate, then this process was so easy. Why to complicate our lives ourselves? So 55,000 normal fees है, 50,000 चलो. So बहुत सारे लोग कूड़ा कबाड़ पढ़ा के भेज देते हैं 50,000 रुपये. तो मुझे 2-3 हज़ार एक्स्ट्रा लेने की क्या जरूरत थी? मैं भी कूड़ा कबाड़ पढ़ाता और मेरा लाइफ आराम से होता. Why will I consult 30 books? Why will I get into analysis or whatever, right? There are so many people who might be doing it. I'm not saying I'm the only one. But for me, for my work, I am following that process. See? So my target is that one who comes here, not only this subject or anything that he studies from me, right? He should develop one of the excellent, one of the, what you can say, unbeatable understanding of that, right? And for that I have to put effort, I will put effort. My task is not to complete syllabus. My task is to make that person expert in what he's studying. Now that's my own commitment. I don't put that moral burden on you, right? Because you are unaware, you will study whatever is taught and you'll go. Later on, when you realize, you'll abuse the teacher, and that's true. You should. If you realize कि भाई 100 promise किया गया था, but 40 दिया गया. But it's not about tasks. It is about understanding. See, task एक कम हो सकता है, 10 कम हो सकते हैं, 10 ज़्यादा हो सकते हैं. मैं तुम्हारे 10 टेस्ट चेक कर दिए, एक नहीं कर पाया, नहीं कर पाया. That does not undermine the effort we have put in checking the 10 tests. That means you are highly ungrateful. You can never be grateful to anything in this world. तुम पेरेंट्स को भी बोलोगे कि तुमने मुझे थोड़ा गलत टाइम पे पैदा कर दिया, राइट? ज्यादा पैसा कमा लेते तब मुझे पैदा करते तो सो दैट मेरे पास भी थोड़ा पैसा होता. That is the nature. That is the nature of the generations in which we are living. And in every generation there were people like that. Now the problem is numbers have increased. That is the only difference. Every generation there were people like that. 1970s में मूवी देखोगे उसमें भी एक ऐसा बच्चा होगा जो माँ बाप को छोड़ के चला जाएगा कहीं और. And then इनसे तुमने क्या किया हमारे लिए, क्या किया. So see, this, when you say being ethical, right? So there are a lot of moral imperatives. Gratitude be a moral imperative. You have not seen God, you do not know about him, you don't even know whether he's doing something for you or not, but still you are thankful. Why you are thankful? It's not because you are praising someone, right? It is because you are developing your ethical skill, you are developing your ethical value system. तुम अपने को enhance कर रहे हो किसी तारीफ करके, right? किसी और को नहीं कर रहे हो. Nobody is gaining substantially from that. The moment you say, okay, sir, अच्छा पढ़ा, तो उससे कोई substantial gain नहीं है, right? But it nurtures your level or your what you can say, the understanding of how to appreciate something and why not to appreciate something. वो तुम्हारा एक rational evaluation या rational parameter को increase कर रहा है. आपने किसी चीज को logically evaluate किया और फिर बोला कि सही है. See, so what is developing? Your evaluation, the standards of your evaluation, the basis of your evaluation. People don't think way. Being ethical is not for some external consequence, right? That is what he's trying to say. You understand? If you are good, you are going to get benefited from this, not just someone else. So being good, that is what Gurcharan Das is saying. Being good and doing good, you understand? Are you getting the point? See? So if teleology say, because we are achieving good, right? That is why we justify whatever we are doing. Deontology will say, no, being good is the universal moral imperative. अगर तुम अच्छे हो गए, तो तुम जो भी करोगे वो तो अच्छा ही होगा ना. See? Are you getting this point? So Kant says there are certain moral imperatives. You cannot do to something what you don't want him to do to you, right? What you feel unethical for yourself, you should feel the same thing for others. And by this process, what will happen? We can develop some universal parameters. So deontology is also one framework determinant, right? Is a very important. Then, teleological ही एक और criteria है, utilitarianism, right? What is utilitarianism? Okay, right? Okay, fine. We are okay. Right. Okay. Next, okay. Another important determinant or basis, you can say, is utilitarianism. Utilitarianism. That may fall into two other categories: teleological and hedonism. Teleological and hedonism. See, so Bentham, Mills, Bentham, they have developed the idea of utilitarianism. Utilitarianism, try to understand what is the ultimate premise of utilitarianism. Maximum good, that is the end. End, it's talking about end. It doesn't talk about means. Maximum good for maximum number. Maximum happiness for maximum number. Maximum comfort for maximum number. Earlier tha maximum pleasure for maximum number. It used all these ideas, you understand? जैसे मिल्स है या बेंथम, उन्होंने जनरली इनिशियली वर्ड यूज किया प्लेजर, कंफर्ट. Yes, pleasure, comfort, right? So pleasure or comfort was supposed to be, or it was understood to be, more conservative in nature, more physical in nature. Then they changed it to something called happiness, right? Satisfaction, for example, happiness or maximization of interest of highest number, right? So then they changed it more to the qualitative aspect. So maximum good for the maximum number, maximum happiness for the maximum number, sorry, happiness and good and welfare or interest. So maximum good, maximum happiness, what does it mean? End. Right? How? That is not very clear. Teleological, right? Also, the use of the word or the purpose being happiness, comfort, good, right? Or pleasure, what does it indicate? It comes from the idea of hedonism. What is hedonism? Seeking comfort for oneself is not unethical. Seeking pleasure for oneself is not unethical. See, materialistic, correct? So idea is, see, when you are acting so as to maximize the end in such a manner, right, that maximum number of people can benefit. That is what the end centric. That is utilitarianism. Hedonism is the idea which says pleasure, comfort is not bad. That means if you are seeking comfort for yourself, if you're seeking benefit for yourself, there is nothing wrong with that because it is the natural human tendency. People are rational economic beings, right? But if you're seeking it at the cost of the exploitation of the other, then it is not justified. So even hedonism doesn't justify manipulation or exploitation. So utilitarianism is also a determination. उसका determinant factor या determining factor क्या है? Maximum good for maximum number. Most of the systems in the world are utilitarian. Utilitarian has two aspects. One is called the act utilitarian. The other is called the rule utilitarian. So one is act utilitarian and one is rule utilitarian.
But teleology can also be individualistic, right? When you say the maximum number of the benefit, 8% would be the benefit of society.
किसी situation में?
Teleology is not, it can be individualistic.
Yes, that basis is the maximization of the end. All these frameworks can be evaluated, used to evaluate the, कल हमने क्या पढ़ा था भाई? Dimensions. All these frameworks can be used to evaluate any dimension you want. Basic premise is same. Utilitarian act by individual, yes, हो सकता है. Utilitarian act for individual हो सकता है. Maximum benefit के लिए एक ही person हो तो क्या कर सकते हो? Right? Let's say. So rule or act utilitarian, you have to wear helmets if you have to avoid accident. So enforcing wearing or making people wear helmet on a particular traffic light so that they do not meet accident. It is a police officer took the initiative and this happened on Monday. On Tuesday, people forgot the police officer also and the helmet also. On Wednesday, again, police officer came to that red light, people again remembered the helmet, again they wore it and came back. What is happening? What is happening? How are we acting? We are acting in compartments. We are making one or two actions which are resulting in certain good consequences for certain number of people. If instead of that, the government makes a law that everyone has to wear a helmet, नहीं? तो वो क्या हो जाएगा? वो act universal हो जाएगा. One bureaucrat resisting corruption, one bureaucrat dying for honesty, one bureaucrat fighting against corrupt people, right? Second bureaucrat fighting against corrupt people, another bureaucrat fighting against corrupt people. That is what? These are individual acts of courage. If government wants to create this as a system, what it will do? Every civil servant should fight against corruption, for which they will be protected by us. Whistleblowers Protection Act. So act utilitarianism क्या होता है? A policy, a decision, anything, right, which individually leads to maximization of the benefit of people, or which maximizes the happiness or benefit of people in a particular region, locality, or in compartments. You understand? If the same act somewhere is converted into a law, if the same decision is somewhere converted into a universal framework and then it is applied, it becomes rule utilitarian. Yes, you can say that. Yes, institutionalization or formalization, right, of that specific act or action. Are you getting? So rule utilitarianism obviously is more useful. It is more universal. And probably it is much more effective than act utilitarianism. But that does not mean that act utilitarianism should not be done. So there is a stone on the middle of the road, right? People are getting people meet with accidents because of that. Nobody's removing it. A person comes, removes it. Correct? Act utilitarianism. Next, the government makes a law. If there is any stone on the road, the bureaucrats will be punished. So they should remove it the moment they see it becomes a law. No. Sabko benefit hoga, right? So government giving reserving individual posts for STs, STs backwards, right, in the government jobs individually in certain services, right? Government making a universal law by an amendment and saying that everybody who belongs to this community will be given a positive discrimination in the system. That's you can say, but individual acts of lateral entry is act utilitarianism. But purpose kya hai? Maximum benefit hona chahiye. Right? Maximum benefit for maximum number. That's an end result. Means से उसका कोई मतलब नहीं है. Fine. वैसी एक premise है hedonism. अब hedonism क्या बोलते हैं? Hedonism is a very broad philosophy. It seems to be, right, materialism. In this world, right, how are you going to experience anything? Next class we'll talk about Charvak philosophy. You heard of Charvak philosophy? Existentialism, right? Thank God there is no God. God is dead. Nihilism. Nietzsche. Fine. So there are obviously a lot of ideas which needs to be understood first. So when you say apply, can we apply all these moral philosophies, this to civil services? No. We cannot do all that, right? They can but help us formulate more concrete guidelines. They can help us understand the human nature in a better manner. ये इसका फायदा, you understand? फायदा ये नहीं है कि सिर्फ theory बन जाए. फायदा क्या है? यही कि how well can we understand the individual behavior, psychology in a specific context for the respect of ethical evaluation. हमारा purpose psychology पढ़ना नहीं है, philosophy पढ़ना नहीं है. That was a drawback, right? That is why the UPSC had to review the syllabus. They will have to change the syllabus over a period of time. Why? Because a philosophy teacher will say कि मैं ethics तो हमारा domain है, as a branch of study. Fine, but we are not talking about ethics in governance. That is not part of philosophy, right? So psychology teacher used to say कि philosophy तो ethics तो हमारा part है, attitude, aptitude तो psychological study है. PubAd teacher will say कि पूरा जो administrative ethics है, पूरा governance है तो हमारा part है. Political science teacher will also say कि भाई देखो इसमें constitution, government, politics है, ये तो मेरा part है. Aristotle पढ़ना है, Socrates पढ़ना है तो मेरा part है. It does not belong to anyone. When we think of applied ethics, that simply is related to governance. Now, if PubAd studies that, good. Politics science studies that, good. Sociology studies that, good. But ultimately, what is to be studied? Governance. Neither PubAd nor political science nor sociology. But because PubAd's subjective matter is administration, right? It is one of the key influences on governance. इसलिए उसका जो domain का influence है, वो इसमें ज़्यादा हो जाता है. Nobody can say that it is part of public admin. No, it is not. Is it substantially impacted by it? Yes, it is. Is it easy for a person studying PubAd to understand it? Yes, it is. Why? Because of the nature of the similarity in the substantive content, right? Or the nature of the reduction in effort that will come when a student of PubAd studies ethics. You understand?